Hello, this is my Module 4 assignment, the Visionary Planner for Technology Integration. So the primary purpose of this presentation is we will take a quick look at our district's mission statement and how it correlates or does not correlate to technology use in the district. We'll look at the demographics of technology. We take a bit of a deep dive into the demographics of that technology in USD 265, staff and students' comfortability with the use of technology, specific student populations and their access, as well as any potential cultural and diversity issues and community involvement. And then finally, I'll end it with a proposed plan. After looking at data, I'll discuss a plan that I would like to propose that includes stakeholder involvement and input, as well as a shared vision for the department. So, Goddard Public Schools' current mission is to educate all students for lifelong success. Although our district's mission statement does not directly specify technology, I can easily argue that we know the need for technology and education is vital to setting up our students for lifelong success. So our actual technology department is led by a director, and underneath him is an assistant director. And the department as a whole encompasses 12 staff members that are dedicated to our district's technology needs. Of these 12 staff members, we have a few techs that have very specialized skills, and then others that are assigned to specific buildings in order to meet those buildings' technology needs. They also have a secretary that's shared with another department, and they include our district level staff that manage our student information systems within their department as well. So altogether, that includes 12 people. The main technologies that are used throughout my current school district are Google, Clever, Skyward, and then Chromebooks. However, this, of course, is not all that we are limited to, and we also have the frequent use of things like clear touch boards, Frontline, WebKids, Nearpod, just different things like that. Our actual network is managed by ISG. They control our Wi-Fi and phone systems, and it does also impact our abilities to print. But this company allows us to take care of our own district's needs a lot in-house, and so we don't have to rely on them so much like we did with our previous network manager. So moving into comfortability with technology. So upon interviewing our director of technology, he stated that there's no way that we currently gauge people within our district's comfortability with technology. However, he did say that students seem to be resilient and adapt easily to the latest technological changes, and they embrace it. Teachers tend to adapt only because they know it's necessary for their role and for the benefit of their students. However, he did note that younger or newer teachers are more willing to jump in versus those that have been in the field for a while. We tend to have to help other staff members, we meaning our tech department, the most, and they also tend to be those that use technology the least, regardless of their access to it. They don't see it as a priority for their position, but rather just a tool to clock in and out and nothing more. And by this, he was referring to some of our staff that maybe work in our maintenance department, our nutrition services department, and some things like that. So the Consortium of School Networking notes that technology plays an integral part in all aspects of school life, from its use to engage students to a vehicle to connect teachers from across the district, to streamline administrative tasks such as payroll, to conduct assessment testing, and as an efficient way to communicate with parents and the community. So due to statements like this, it would be wise for us as a district to truly understand where everyone's comfortability levels are and then develop a plan to support the gaps from multiple angles. So when looking at digital citizenship, our district does not have a specific curriculum that's used for digital citizenship. A digital citizenship class is offered as an elective at our Academy High School. We also incorporate content on digital citizenship through our IPS classes at both Eisenhower High School and Goddard High School. Our district has a license to Nearpod, and they offer simple lessons on digital citizenship for grades K through 12. However, our teachers have to take it upon themselves to play these lessons from Nearpod to their students, but there's no requirement of this from the district office. However, we know from our resources from this assignment that this is something we need to start working on sooner rather than later with our students in a way that builds on itself year to year. Future Learn highlights that even working on emotional intelligence can help with self awareness, self management, social awareness, and relationship management, all of which can make us better at communicating in the digital space. We also know that being responsible users goes beyond the classroom. And so the Office of Educational Technology notes that students, parents, families, and teachers need education, professional development, and resources regarding how to access and use technology in safe, respectful, and ethical ways. So for our special populations, you can see the list of different populations on this slide here. All of these populations are represented in my current district, but most, not all of them, but most also fall under the Perkins 5 special populations. This is important to note because these are populations that we have to report data on and must consider each group's needs in an equitable way. As Digital Promise highlighted, data equity applies an equity-centered lens and mindset to ensure data is collected, analyzed, interpreted, and shared with diverse stakeholders without bias or exclusion. So, as a district, we do work very hard to ensure equity and access to all of these populations when they are in school. Our special education classrooms, for example, are able to have all of the same technology as all of our other classrooms, and at times even more depending on our students' needs. However, as Zalaznik points out, teachers also need support in accurately interpreting data to identify those instructional disparities across lines of race, ethnicity, ability, language, and gender. Where the issues tend to arise for us are when the students leave our campuses. So, technology accessibility and access. As a school district, we must strive to provide all students with the tools and resources necessary to thrive in our digital age. As I noted earlier, we already do a great job of this as a district. However, in doing so, this entails not only making sure that students have access to devices and high speed internet, but also addressing any physical or cognitive disabilities that may impede the use of technology. Collada notes that to set the foundation for technology empowered learning during and beyond the pandemic, education leaders are actively tackling internet and device access issues to narrow that digital divide. So, by prioritizing technology, accessibility, and access, we can create a level playing field where every student has the opportunity to harness technology in their education. So, for cultural issues, we do have to be cognizant of those as well. And an easy place to start is to know your students, their background, and become more aware of it. As Fingal points out, culturally responsive teaching focuses on students' cultural knowledge and frames of reference. So, if we're going to meet the needs of our students and communities, we have to know who they are. The same could be said for diversity issues, and as Madden highlights, learning about privilege, unconscious bias, and microaggressions is also a process, and it's important to acknowledge that people might make mistakes along the way. We would not expect individuals to be perfect, but rather to learn and grow as they encounter new experiences, just as our students do. As a school district, we do have an assistive technology team. They primarily serve students within our special education population, but they do also assist some students who are not identified. This team frequently also provides professional development at both building levels and district level in services in order to build that capacity and broaden the knowledge of our staff. So within our district, we do have a high level of parent engagement, but we did have to rebuild this back to the level that it was after the pandemic. Although parents are active in our students' education, we do seem to have the same parents from each of our school buildings that if they're involved in one thing, they're typically involved in others. So These are the same parents that you see partaking in PTO events, site councils, state of the district address, community retreats, things like that, just to name a few. We know that this engagement, not only from some parents, but all and even further community members, is vital to the success of our students. Parent engagement has long been shown to impact student grades, persistence, and completion, while engagement with the community has a documented impact on school quality, including facility upgrades, higher quality curriculum, and increased funding for interventions and supports. And that was noted by the Association of Career and Technology Education. So now that I've covered a lot of what my current district looks like from a technological standpoint, let's jump into a proposed plan for strengthening this area. This would be a change from what we are currently doing, but as the censure highlighted, when push comes to shove, leaders don't see change as a disruption. They embrace it as an opportunity to build something new. So to begin, we would need to form a committee that focuses on the district's use of technology. I, as the district leader, would have this be led by our technology director and ensure that the appropriate stakeholders are represented on this committee, including students, parents, and teachers, just to name a few. As Landa stated, organizations work best and are most satisfied when the team is working together very tightly with the same understanding of what exactly they're trying to accomplish. Relating that back to change, if everyone shares the same vision of where they're heading and why and how, then it's much more likely they'll adapt well to the changes and challenges they're inevitably going to face. So from here, I'd want this committee to form their own vision that aligns with our district's current vision. With an adopted shared vision, this committee will have something to reflect back to when making decisions and ensuring that they are focused on technology that will improve student success. Once you have a technology mission statement and vision, it's helpful to give teachers and staff the practical tools on how to carry out that vision for 21st century learning, and that was shared by Mumley. In order to ensure the committee is actively looking at what everyone needs, they then need to develop that strategic plan, which would focus on items such as equity, access, funding, professional development, and instruction. As Olderog pointed out, while the several resources for this assignment make good points that would fit within the strategic plan, as Alderog, I'm sorry, pointed out, while the argument of reopening schools to ensure fair access was front and center, it appeared that a number of minority parents did not share this haste and decided to explore other options as the current model did not necessarily work for their children in the first place. Rochelle also noted in many cases this pushed students and educators to become even more creative and innovative. But for those without devices or reliable access to the internet, the opportunity to create and innovate was lost. So those two quotes touched on that equity and access. Song highlighted as districts continue investing in technology resources, resulting in rapid increases in the number of tools accessed by educators. State leadership is essential to ensure that these will be used in ways that accelerate and enhance effective and equitable instructional practices. And finally, Sridhar and Song stated states can prioritize opportunities found in federal and state funding, including new federal ESSER 2 funds, to expand professional development such as online learning and data privacy skills training, ongoing coaching, and related resource sharing, thereby ensuring that educators can optimize their use of technology to empower students and build skills and competencies critical for post-secondary education and the workforce. I know we all know since we've had even ESSER 3 funds. I would like to notate that for my specific district, just because of everything that went into the calculations to determine the amounts people qualified for, we received as a district a very, very minimal amount. So, after digging into resources and gaining better insight from stakeholders, this team, or rather committee, would be able to set their strategic plan and vision. So once this is set, the committee will need to ensure that they are consistently evaluating how they're doing and tie every decision back to their vision and that strategic plan. A large part of this is ensuring that they're effectively communicating and consistently gathering feedback. As the district leader, I would need frequent updates on all of this, as well as to ensure that they're routinely staying abreast of newfound information in order to implement change in a way that structures our students' futures and makes them become desirable in the workforce. I would, of course, want to see and be able to receive data back on different strategies that they've implemented. And again, just consistently evaluate that and overall just adjust everything as needed. So, with all of that said, here is my proposed vision statement for them to just start with. It ties directly back to our overall district vision statement, and that would be to educate all students for lifelong success by allowing them equitable access to high quality educational practices and technological resources. And here are my resources and references that I use throughout this assignment. And with that, I thank you very much for listening. Thanks.